Hey guys, in this video we will be talking about the effects that dieting for a weight or fat loss outcome has on your metabolism. Now hopefully you've watched Metabolism 101 where we went through in more detail your metabolic rate, what it is and what it isn't, and how we can attribute any changes either up or down to one of these four things. If you haven't watched that video, then please make sure you watch it afterwards, but hopefully I'll explain this in enough detail that you should be able to understand the effects that dieting has on your metabolic rate and what we can do to try to work around that. So your basal metabolic rate, this is the amount of calories that you burn at rest. It's affected by your age, your body weight, your muscle mass, your lean body mass, and how consistently you have maintained your total body weight. NEAT, which is subconscious or non-conscious activity, how much you move your hands when you're talking, how active you are on a day-to-day basis without physically having to make yourself go and do an activity. Exercise is physically making yourself go and do an activity, and the thermic effect of food is the amount of energy it takes to break down all the foods that we consume. So when you are dieting, we know, or you should know, that in order to successfully lose weight and or fat, you must be in a calorie deficit. And this is where we expend more energy than we consume. This is how we expend energy. So let's say that this person is expending 2,000 calories per day and consuming 1,700 calories per day on average. This person is successfully in a deficit, well done, and is going to lose weight and total body fat. Their metabolism is going to be affected by this negative energy balance because they are now going to lose body weight, which is going to reduce the amount of energy we expend from BMR. They're likely also going to reduce their lean body mass. This is the amount of water and glycogen stored within the muscle. So now this person, NEAT, so the amount of activity they do outside of a workout without having to think about it. We often see that when you successfully diet, we feel more lethargic. We start to sit more and stand less. We would opt to take a cab or the subway instead of walking. And if we do walk, we probably walk at a slower pace. So NEAT is likely to reduce. If you're a smaller human, your body weight's gone down, we already know that. When you're working out in the gym, your squats, your deadlifts, your chest press, your running, all requires less energy than it did before. Thermic effect of food, you're now eating less, so you're going to be burning less because you're breaking down less. So now your metabolism has adapted to 1,700 calories. So now what was once creating a deficit and seeing consistent weight loss is now maintenance. Now nothing bad has happened. Metabolism is not slow. Metabolism is not broken. It's just adapted. And that's what happens when you successfully diet. So it's gonna happen. You have to accept it. It's not bad. So what can we do to now make sure that we can continue moving forward with your weight loss goal? Now we can't really do anything with our age or our body weight up or our muscle mass up because we want to continually diet. So what we can do is we can start to look at these two factors, your NEAT and your exercise, because these are things that we can have an instant effect on. Now things like your steps, this is likely going to reduce, you're less likely going to want to do them. So they're going to move more into this exercise. You may have to set aside some time and physically make yourself go out and walk around. Or maybe you add some extra cardio at the end of your resistance or your strength training session so that you are expending more total calories. It's not going to be a pure NEAT activity, and some people will tell you, oh, well, that's not NEAT because you're planning to do it. Who cares? The goal here is to be successful with our weight loss goal. So whether you're walking and you're not planning it, or you're walking and you are planning it, if it gets to the desired outcome, who cares? So this is going to stay the same. But maybe now we make more of a conscious effort to increase our NEAT again, similar to where it was before. Training is the same, and then thermic effect of food. So boom, Now, let's say that we've gone to 1850. So our metabolism adapted based on the environment that we were in. We have now changed our metabolism based on the environment we're in by taking control of a couple of factors. So now we're going to successfully lose weight, but not at the same rate. So something that we could do if we wanted to lose at the same rate is we could reduce your intake to 1550. And now we would be in a 300 calorie deficit, similar to before, that we should see the similar rate and amount of weight or fat loss per week. So this is one way that you can work around an adaptation. And I think sometimes what happens is that we just assume that we can just keep doing the same thing and we'll keep getting the same outcome. And we assume that, oh no, my metabolism is slow, my metabolism is broken. And some people might suggest to you, oh, you need to eat more calories. It's definitely not true. Now, one scenario we have where I think it is often the most common scenario and why people get fixated on the fact that their metabolism is slow and or broken is because someone might get to this position here. And after a period of successful dieting, okay, are they really consuming 1700 calories? Or are we now getting into a cycle of like diet, overeat? Maybe at weekends, maybe planned or unplanned. So maybe we have this scenario here where let's say that you're burning the same amount of calories. I'll try to do it quickly. Okay, so we're still burning 1850, but most of the time we're consuming 1600. But then there are a few days where we consume 2400 and maybe a little bit more. So now your average, okay, is likely going to increase to be somewhere around here. So let's say 2100. So now, if you're only expending 1850, but you're working really hard because you are restricting your diet on, like, let's say like Monday to Thursday, and then we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're putting in a lot of effort, but your weight is definitely not going to go down. If anything, your weight's going to go up. And you are wondering why. I'm doing everything right. I'm working really hard during the week and maybe even working really hard over the weekends, just consuming too many calories. And this could maybe be because somebody told you that you need a cheat meal. You don't. Somebody told you that the reason why you weren't losing weight was because you were consuming too few calories. You would just had some adaptation where you came towards maintenance. And I think that this can be a cycle that we get into because often, because you start to gain weight, then maybe we start to reduce our calories to here. Because we understand the math that it is calories in versus calories out. And that if we're overshooting at the weekend, then maybe we have to pull back during the week. But this, not that any type of dieting is sustainable, but this is definitely not sustainable. It's the most unsustainable thing from an unsustainable thing. And it's diet, overeat. Diet, overeat. So we're not seeing any adaptation up from your metabolism, which we'll talk about in a second. All we're seeing is changes in your energy balance in acute time, restricting yourself, dieting. And then what happens is you give up and your intake goes all the way up here and your expenditure comes all the way down. So metabolic adaptation is gonna happen. You definitely can work around it, but this is a scenario that I see very, very often. And I've experienced it many, many times myself. So I empathize. I know that it's a difficult cycle to break out of. And I know that kind of sometimes when you're in it, you don't even really realize you're in it because you are seemingly doing all of the right things and you can't truly understand. And really understanding how our metabolism worked was one of the biggest things that helped me to realize that, okay, like I just ate too much, nothing bad happened. Okay, so if you pull yourself down, okay, and you have a more consistent intake, you can make more progress over time. Okay, and trying to remove that success or failure aspect of dieting. So now, we've talked about adaptations down and the reasons why sometimes people may think that their metabolism is slow and or broken. But if our metabolism adapts on the way down, does it adapt on the way up? Yes, of course it does. So we have kind of two options. One option could be doing a diet break. Another option could be reverse dieting. So option one, so let's say that we're this person here at 1850 and we were at 2000. So we are going to, let me get rid of all of this, just so I don't run out of space. Okay, so this person at 1850 we're going to increase their calories back to 2000. Now what we would see is an increase in body weight, an increase in lean body mass, yes, and an increase in the contribution to BMR, to your total daily energy expenditure. We would probably be more energized, have more energy available. We might do more steps and more activities without having to plan it again. We see NEAT increase. You should feel awesome. You start crushing the gym. And because we've increased our food, we're now increasing the thermic effect of food. So from having a period where we're increasing our calories by 2000, we may have increased our energy expenditure to, let's say, 1900. And over time, this would continue to increase, okay, towards that 2000 mark. Now a diet break would be doing this from anywhere from 7 to 14 days. Okay? And then once you have seen adaptations of your metabolism going back up, we then may start to come back down again. And hopefully here we would have increased to maintain body weight, that we wouldn't have accumulated any fat back from what we've lost. We then continue to lose fat again. So you're kind of going forward, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. Okay, and this can be a good way to make sure that we maintain more muscle mass and more lean body mass during a dieting phase. Now the second one is reverse dieting. Now reverse dieting is overrated. I repeat, reverse dieting is overrated. The most effective thing would just be to go straight back to maintenance and to stay there for as long as possible. Okay? Reverse dieting is a way where, let's say for example, we have somebody in the dieting phase, NEAT went down, exercise, and effect of food. So let's say this person's at 1800, okay, and their intake has been at like 1500. Okay, what would happen is we would see somebody go from here to here, just a small increase. Now the issue with this is that oftentimes the increase is so small that it doesn't really help increase energy available. Okay, you're just now physically eating more food and maybe you just don't feel as bad as you previously did, but you definitely don't feel good. And then you would spend a period of time here and then you would increase again, maybe to a little bit over. So let's say that this is 1800 and this is 1900. Then you would increase again to 2000 and then you would increase again, so on and so forth. Now this can be a choice and a method for somebody who is maybe scared of increasing calorie intake, because oftentimes people associate weight gain as a very, very bad or unhealthy thing, but it's often not. Most weight gain initially is going to be from increasing lean body mass, which is water and glycogen stored within the muscle. For every 1 gram of glycogen, we store 4 grams of water. So if you were to get on the scales now and hold a bottle of water, you would increase by the amount of water that's in your hands. And that's not fat. So the same thing is happening with your body. The weight increase is not only a representation of how much fat you have, or if you're losing weight, how much fat you've lost. But sometimes people from previous experiences are scared about gaining a lot of weight quickly. So maybe reverse dieting can be a good way to help to build someone's confidence, because they can have more positive experiences where they can increase their calories and they see that nothing bad happened. And then you increase again, nothing bad happened. And so on and so forth. But this is often not as effective or efficient as just going straight up and giving someone more energy available. And I think also that because it's given the term reverse dieting, people assume that possibly it's a way for them to increase their calorie intake and still create a deficit and lose weight. The reason why they may see an improvement in body composition is because you get more lean body mass. So your muscle looks fuller and better. So you visibly improve your appearance and you start to feel leaner, you start to look a little bit leaner. Also, you have more energy available. So maybe without realizing it, increasing your calories, maybe although it be a small increase, maybe that led you to physically doing more activity. And maybe that scenario that I rubbed off, maybe it led you to be able to stick to the diet more consistently because you were consuming more calories, you're less likely to overeat at other times. So it probably actually improved adherence, improved energy expenditure. So although calories in went up, calories out went up even more. And we also saw an improvement in body composition by increasing lean body mass. So I think that sometimes, again, people can get a false positive. They definitely, again, what you experience is true, but you didn't lose more weight or more fat from having more calories. Okay, more calories likely helped make it easier for you to adhere to the diet, easier to keep up your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and also expend more calories throughout your workout. That led to a better energy balance, which led to you better controlling how much weight you gain and how much fat you gain during the increase in calories. So there are a couple of options, or there are a couple of examples of things. I think I'll do a full video on diet breaks, on how frequently to have them and how I would set them up. And I'll also do a more in-depth video on reverse dieting. Again, it can be a useful tool, but I think it's overrated. Not as bad, but I think it's overrated. So hopefully this has been helpful. I know it's a lot of information. So if you guys have any questions or comments, then please post them below. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all these videos. And please follow me on Instagram at @BenLauderDykes. All right, guys, thank you again for watching, and I can't wait to speak to you again soon.